I wanted to get you guys the story the moment I heard about it, but unfortunately, I'm currently traveling. I am in Dubai right now. If you want to see what I'm up to, follow me on Instagram and Twitter. That's why you see my hotel room behind me as opposed to my jerseys and whatnot. And that's why news is getting out to you guys a little slower because my internet is so freaking bad. But I'm going to try anyways. I want to get you guys content anyway. So before we get to the content, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to support the grind and to support the work ethic, man. I will always work as hard as I can to get you guys good stories like this. And this is going to be a lot of fun. I've been reading up on this the entire flight here. I can't wait for you guys to see this now that we got all that out of the way. Break! Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? I consider myself to be a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan. I mean, I don't necessarily know if I'm as diehard as this human is here today because I don't think I would ever rob a bank just so I could go to Cowboys games. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, that's what today's story is about. So the following story is about a man by the name of ChiefsAholic, who, like his name suggests, is a Kansas City Chiefs superfan. Now, you might be thinking, what's the significance of this? Well, the background of this story and where it goes is filled with twists and turns, and I can't wait for you guys to hear it. ChiefsAholic is a diehard Kansas City Chiefs fan, but he's also a very inspirational story. He'll consistently post pictures of himself not only at Kansas City Chiefs games, but also doing nice charitable acts like going to Patrick Mahomes' charity event and purchasing this picture that you see currently on your screen, while also placing significant amounts of money on Kansas City Chiefs games. I mean, betting is not legal in California, so my best bet is Prize Picks, but I can never imagine putting this amount of money on any type of Prize Picks game at all whatsoever. But more power to this guy. If you have $5,000 of disposable income to invest on your team and try to place these crazy bets and parlays, and on top of that they're hitting, then congratulations and more power to you. I will never hate on you for that. But it's obviously a sign of being fairly wealthy, and that's what the assumption of most of his following was, that this is an individual that is very well off. I mean, he even has a cliche hard work pays off tweet. Check this out, where he says, after graduating KSU in 2016, I was working a warehouse job making $12 an hour. Today I manage multiple warehouses throughout the Midwest region and make an excellent living. And I'm only 28 years old. Hard work pays off, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Which I just wanted to give you guys a disclaimer, just because the story of this individual ends in a very weird, twisted way, and clearly he's lying about the way he attained his wealth, doesn't necessarily mean that hard work doesn't pay off. I mean, I've been able to successfully take my family out of the country together for the first time in my entire life. I'm 29 years old, and this is an achievement that was always on my list. It was from working hard and working smart. I don't mean that to brag. I'm just saying hard work and smart work does pay off. Don't let this story deter you otherwise. Watch something come out about me robbing banks so I could go to Cowboy games. Jokes aside, here's how the story goes, and it's actually a crazy one. It ends with an armed robbery just so he could go to a Chiefs game. So here's the story as told by David Matthews on Twitter, and it's a pretty extensive timeline that starts with this image of Xavier Michael Babudar, who was arrested on Friday, December 16th for armed robbery, among other charges listed below. His bond is set at $200,000. So this is a wild image to see. You can see all the stuff that he's being accused of in this arrest. Armed robbery, wearing a mask in commission of felony, possession of firearm, commission felony first offense, threatened violence act, hold/electronic monitor required. Now it seems like ChiefsAholic's whole history comes out here, and his whole hard work pays off speech may have been a load of crap. It doesn't seem like he was managing warehouses after all. As a matter matter of fact, there are several instances of him committing a crime. The first instance that David Matthews could find of ChiefsAholic being involved in a crime, specifically robbery related, dates back to October of 2014, where he was arrested for suspicion of theft in Utah. This would put ChiefsAholic at the age of 26 years old at the time of the incident. 2 years later, he was pictured here at the age of 28 being arrested on October 6, 2016 for misdemeanor theft. On October 27, 2020, he was arrested in Platte, Missouri on unknown charges. He is seen wearing a Chiefs hoodie in his mugshot photos. Dude, that's so funny. It's like, yeah, I'm going to jail, but go Chiefs! We're gonna win a Super Bowl! As a matter of fact, was this during the time of the Super Bowl, February 27, 2020? Anyway, let's move on. Now, the mugshot that was featured prior is the last known time that ChiefsAholic was arrested prior to last Friday. There's only one other legal incident that occurred between then and now involving ChiefsAholic and Robert Kraft. Dude, you know you're a super fan when you're starting to sue the New England Patriots owner for I don't know what incident that took place in 2019, but this in of itself is hysterical. So this brings us to the picture that we started this entire video with. The fact that he attended a Patrick Mahomes charity event and bought a painting below, which we're now assuming has been bought with stolen money. He was known to place multiple large bets on Chiefs games and even gave this great speech about how he attended KSU and how hard work pays off, although there's no record that he ever attended KSU. Now, he has been a fraud from the beginning. How nobody noticed this, including David Matthews, that he is a career criminal up to this point, is astonishing. Up until this point, he still worked for $12 an hour and robbed banks on the side for the money that he has flexed on Twitter. I've always been a huge proponent of trying to make sure that you keep your wealth to yourself, because nothing good comes out of flexing. I mean, all you do is convey to people that you have money. You might attract the wrong crowd. I don't understand why people do it, to be honest. And it's even funnier when you see people that don't have money that are trying to flex, that attract crappy people, and this puts them in worse and worse situations. Because on top of that, I never understood the obsession with material possessions. But that's just me. I don't think flexing is the move when you have money, and especially when you don't have money. But that's besides the point. As of right now, nothing has come out if he has any connections to other bank robberies while attending away games for the Chiefs. But I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if it comes out that he's connected to many more. The money he has stolen has been funneled into charity, gambling, season ticket purchases, and God knows what else. There's a case to make that he was laundering his stolen funds. As it stands, he can possibly face life imprisonment for the crime that he committed on Friday. So this man was robbing banks and he funneled that money into gambling and season ticket purchases, which is just wild to me, but sounds like something that typically is done whenever people rob other people. I mean, you don't necessarily see people deciding to rob banks and then do something responsible with it. That's just never how it works. It's usually something like gambling and material possessions that you don't really need, but shout out to him. He also funneled it into charity, so it's a little bit of a Robin Hood story here. No, not that Robin Hood, this Robin Hood. So this has been causing a stir with Kansas City Chiefs fans. It seems that Chiefs Kingdom will be without the Wolf indefinitely. During his spaces today, it was discussed that while fan accounts are great, not many of the owners actually know who these people really are, and that people should take extra caution associating with individuals. ChiefsAholic had been quiet for 3 days, when normally he would be tweeting non-stop. Only what can be described as an Amber Alert was put out over Twitter earlier today in an effort to perform a wellness check on the missing wolf. What they turned up was astonishing. Multiple popular Kansas City Chiefs Twitter accounts assured worried individuals that Xavier was alive, but wouldn't disclose information about his absence. Some cryptic tweets by some of these accounts indicated that they wanted to distance themselves from the situation. There was speculation that he was arrested for an outstanding warrant he had out of Houston for speeding tickets, but nobody distances themselves from a speeding ticket. Not long after news broke that ChiefsAholic had been arrested for armed robbery and Twitter learned his true identity, he was Xavier Babudar, a career thief. This individual bragged online about his success. He lied about where he went to school over and over again. He robbed a small town bank, possibly more than once. He harassed girls online, all the while fooling everyone that he was a nice guy in a wolf suit who went to every game. The goal behind this thread is not only to give back some sorry on what happened, but also to warn people of scumbags like this online. You can can never be truly sure who anyone is you don't know. I hope he is put away for a long time and deprived of watching football. Damn, that's a really harsh thing to say. I will continue to update this thread as more information comes out about his current arrest, or if he is linked to any other crime in the United States. I'd like to thank everyone for reading this, especially the ones who made it this far into this thread. Fuck this guy, go Chiefs. As always, gotta give a huge shout out to anyone that puts together a thread like this. This is astonishing. This information, this compilation of information, huge shout out to Dave Matthews. But we also have additional information. Apparently, ChiefsAholic was involved in creating counterfeit free meal certificates to eat at restaurants back in 2012. His mother and his brother are named. He's allegedly the unnamed 17-year-old. So this is like near where I live. This is like Rancho Cucamonga, San Bernardino area, like an hour and a half away from me, which is kind of crazy. This guy is all over the United States. But that's not it, man. This guy has a very extensive history. Carla Babudar and her sons Noah and an unnamed 17-year-old were held on suspicion of forgery, burglary, and conspiracy, according to the sheriff. It's important to note that this photo circulating online of a man wearing a wolf mask during a robbery is in fact a different incident that took place in 2016. So this picture has been circulating all over the internet because he wears a wolf mask, but it's not actually him. It's just a different robbery that took place in 2016. Since this took so long, we actually have an update on the situation. So here's an update. There was no indication that ChiefsAholic was wearing a mask during the robbery, which kind of puts to rest the story that, hey, he had a wolf mask, went to rob a bank, and then went to the Chiefs game. And of course, if you want more information about this situation, check out my man. How about those Chiefs? He just hit 50,000 subscribers. He makes fantastic Kansas City Chiefs content. And of course, make sure you're following David Matthews, man. He did a great job compiling information and he will keep you updated on the situation. So what do I think about this? Bro, this story's insane. I mean, I'm used to hearing the story of let's go rob a bank and spend money on like Lamborghinis and nice houses and stuff that we don't really need. Spending money on Chiefs memorabilia, donating that money in a Patrick Mahomes charity event is hysterical to me, considering how Patrick Mahomes recently signed a $500,000 contract. So robbing a bank to go ahead and do that is wild. But here's the thing, and I don't think a lot of people pay attention to this. I'm not necessarily saying go be friends with criminals, but here's one of the biggest issues, and I guess one of the nicer parts about the internet. It's really cool because you could go and form a community with anyone. I mean, you could go and befriend any person based upon common interests that you would have with said person. And before, say 20 years ago, you would be very much restricted by the area in which you live. So let's say that you happen to be a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan, but unfortunately for you, you live in New York and everyone in New York is a Giants or Jets fan. So you would very likely be the only Cowboys fan in New York. Now that you have the internet, you could go befriend people on forums. You could go join Cowboys Twitter. There's just a lot of ways for you to engage with other Dallas Cowboys fans. And obviously this applies to all spectrums of life. It could apply to your religion. It could apply to the hobbies that you choose to have, the type of content you choose to consume. And it's really cool because you have all these individuals that share a common interest, but it's also a little interesting because you don't necessarily know much else about these people aside from that you share a common interest with them. And I guess this is a great example of that. You find an individual that's a diehard Kansas City Chiefs fan, and that's all you know about him. It's this guy that wears a wolf mask and just loves the Chiefs, lives, breathes, dies Chiefs, tweets about it nonstop. It's a huge part of his life. And then something like this comes out and you find out, oh, this guy is a horrible human being and is a career criminal. He's harassed girls. He has done a lot of very shady stuff and he's likely to go to jail for a very long time. And I'm not saying there's anything we could really do about it. I mean, you could obviously be careful and mindful about the people you choose to associate yourself with, but that's just how the internet works. I think this is the very first time that I was really made aware of this. So huge shout out to David Matthews, man. Great job compiling this thread and the information. Let me know what you guys think about the greatest heist in Kansas City Chiefs history. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.